Good morning, everyone. This is S. Chan Rakesh Roshan. I work as assistant professor at RJKT IIIT Basar. Welcome you all to this session on ICT tools for teachers, upgradation of teaching, a comprehensive ICT setup. So the main idea behind this is, since as you all know, in these unexpected times of pandemic, the education, the teaching, learning process has to go on, either in the schools or colleges or in higher education. So as you know, most of the countries and India in specific, we are now moving on to an online learning platform, at least for the time being. Most probably this would continue in the near future, irrespective of the pandemic. Hopefully the pandemic should come down. Irrespective of that, I think there would be a component of online learning as well as offline learning in the coming years to come. So as teachers, I guess we should be updating ourselves as to be knowing what all ICT tools are there, and then what all ICT tools do we need to know at least on a bare minimum level, so that we can have a good comprehensive ICT setup available with us, and we deliver the best to our students. So from this point of view, I thought whatever little I know I can share with you all, so that we could be ready to take up this online teaching task and make it a good learning experience for all the students, so that they don't miss anything, because the general typical classroom teaching that we do, they are used to that kind of thing. So this is also new for most of the teachers. So let's get into this. I'll be trying to just give you a brief backdrop of what are the basic learning mechanisms that are there. So I'll just talk about this, and then I'll tell you the ICT setup that we are looking at. I'll discuss that in a little greater detail. So just a little background of what different learning mechanisms etc are there, and we also need to know some terminologies before we get into ICT setup. So let's try to know that a bit. Maybe next 15-20 minutes we'll get into that, and then we'll get onto the hands-on thing regarding the tools. So the basic learning mechanisms, those are available, are the traditional learning that we generally do, and the other kind of learning mechanism is a blended or a hybrid learning mechanism. And the third one, now that has come up, it's online learning. Current scenario reflects that. So it's a complete online learning scenario, right? So these are the different learning mechanisms that are there. Now to move on, so what is learning? So traditional education, as we all know, is basically the which happens by the chalk and talk method. So we all have all the students are gathered under a roof at a specific time and a specific place, and teaching happens by a typical chalk and talk method. And as you all know, the teaching style of the traditional education is teacher driven, right? And the learners also discuss with the peers, with their classmates, to clear their doubts or interact with the instructor or teacher after the class or during the class, to get these doubts cleared. So this is the typical traditional learning that happens day to day. We need to know now, there is something else called as blended learning or hybrid learning. So we all need to know what is blended learning or hybrid learning. Learning is referred to as hybrid learning or mixed mode learning. It's a mix between the traditional teaching as well as the e-learning. Generally, it's used to describe a combination of face-to-face and online delivery of teaching and learning. Face-to-face means the typical classroom environment that we have. So this is a mix of the typical classroom environment as well as the online delivery of teaching. So in blended learning, what is important is, as you can see, so on the left hand side, we have the teacher and the students in a class. That's a typical traditional mechanism that happens. But for a blended learning, you also need to have, the online delivery. So you need to have a, virtual server, domain, computer, and all of that, okay, wherein you can help the students through online mode. So basically now what happens in a blended learning course, students are attending a class taught by the teacher, and they're also completing the online components of the course outside the classroom with the help of this online setup. And What are the considerations that we need to have for a blended learning? The content. So we should be using multiple technologies and media to deliver the content, and we also need to provide the social and economic emotional support to the students. And we should also engage the students in different questioning activities, and we should also try to incorporate the reflection and activities that require the students to reflect on their learning. And we also need to make sure that the students engage themselves in a collaborative learning. And we also need to be sure of the synthesizing, evaluating, and assessing learning. So we also need to know whether the student is getting the concept or not. How do we assess them? So all these need to be considered. Now, typically, there are different parts of the blended learning. So there's a general, there must be a kind of in-person classroom teaching must be happening by a trained educator, and there should also be online learning material like videos. Probably, it could be a live thing, or they include pre-recorded lectures given by the same teacher. And there must also be a structured, independent study time guided by the material in the lectures, and also skills must be developed during the classroom experience. So blended learning, we can say it's the fusion of online as well as face-to-face contact time between the teachers and the students. And this also provides a means to enhance the quality, equity, and it also provides an access to lifelong learning opportunity. There is another mechanism, in India we don't have this, but in US they have another mechanism, learning mechanism. It's called as flipped learning. So it's basically an offspring of blended learning. So what is the flip mechanism? Here the students learn about the topic and the theory at home. So there is more time for the teacher to do exercises on the matter in the class and help the students wherever it is required. So basically, the night itself, like tomorrow, you are going to discuss some topic. Before that itself, they'll go through that entire topic, the related material, and then come prepared to the class, and then the class would become a place to discuss more on that. So this is this typically reverses the elements of lecture as well as homework. In most of the cases here, the students are instructed to view short videos at home before they come to class. So what will happen by this? By doing this, the classroom time, it can be freed up to be spent on discussions, exercises, and projects. The video lecture, that's given to them, which is a key ingredient of the lesson beforehand, it can be actually a learning material that provides self-sufficient explanation. So flipped learning is an example of blended learning, that is a mix of traditional teaching in class as well as e-learning. What are the advantages of this? The major advantage of this flipped classroom setup would be that the class time that it can be used to foster a deeper understanding or for a better understanding and enrichment activities for the students. And most importantly, it also shifts the role of the teacher from that of a lecturer to that of a coach or mentor, which results in a better interaction and a better learning experience for the students. And we should not mistake the flipped learning to be, the aim of the flipped learning is not to replace the teacher with just awesome videos, or the aim is not to create an online course, or the aim is not to lead the students to their own devices. It's not that, okay, we have given you something, just go through it and then come. No, it's not like that. It's much more than that. And what are the main components of this, flipped learning? We can see that the students view or read the subject content prior to the class, and then this face-to-face time is given over to the student-driven interactive discussion, and hands-on activities can happen in the class. And also in this approach, the teacher takes on the role of a facilitator, as we have just said some time back, and he or she also encourages the students to engage in active learning. And the key elements would be to provide an opportunity for the students to gain first exposure prior to the class, and also to provide an incentive for the students to prepare for the class. It also provides a mechanism to assess the student understanding, since you already have given him the required material. And in class activities, we need to concentrate on these activities in the class, which will focus on the higher level cognitive learning. when we say we are talking about an ICT setup, we need to know a few terminologies: blended learning, LMS, CMS, educational resources, assessment, exit slip, polls, to name a few. We should be well versed with these terminologies. At least we need to know what it is. Let's try to look at the one which is called as LMS. The name stands for Learning Management System. So basically, LMS is a platform for digital learning. So L stands for learning. So with the LMS, we can create a single source of e-courses and training materials. And this would become a unique source of knowledge in the respective area so that one can keep and increase the in-house expertise of the institution. M stands for management. One can manage their own courses and learners, and in the process, they can improve the efficiency. And next, S stands for system, something like a computer system. So an LMS would automate the most, boring, and tedious, typical thing such as grading, processing the statistics, preparing reports, etc. It would make it much smarter. In other words, we can as well say LMS is like your own online university. Here, the system allows one to create and store e-learning courses provided, and it also provides the learners access to all this content and also helps you to evaluate the results. So basically, these help to create, adopt, administer, distribute, and manage all the activities related to classroom learning, and this would be acting as a good complement to classroom learning. And with this, we can have a much simpler, more personalized, interactive, and experiential learning process happening to the higher education. This can be useful for the students, to access the assignment, to take the exams, to collaborate with the peers, to communicate with the professors, and much more. And LMS in higher education provides a central location for all the course resources, and in turn, this enables the professors and faculty to get a comprehensive overview of learning in the respective departments, courses by the individual learners. These are, if you see from bottom to top, this is, a learning pyramid that is shown here. So how do we need to set up the LMS? So first, once you set up, you should set up a system, and then you start accessing it. In the process, you welcome the students and encourage them. So first, access needs to be given, and then motivation needs to be provided. And once they are in the class, when I say in the class, online class, then you need to send the messages and receive the message. You need to familiarize, and you need to provide. You need to cut the gap between you and the student. So online socialization a little bit has to be done, and there needs to be an information exchange that should be happening at the third level, and there should be a knowledge construction, the facilitating process, something like the video conferencing or any other mechanism, pre-recorded lectures. And the next step would be the development. So which means now you need to assess, you need to support to them, you need to respond to their queries, and so on. The learning, as you go from bottom to top, this indicates the amount of interactivity between you and your students. As the interactivity increases, the learning process, it becomes more and more relevant and more meaningful. So we should try to incorporate all these components into the LMS setup. Examples of LMS that are, popular ones that are there are as follows. Once again, to name a few major ones: Google Classroom, Edmodo, Moodle, Blackboard, Canvas, LearnDash, Brightspace, Socrative. Some of these are completely free, some of these are paid, and some of these in these COVID times, it's given free for maybe 2 months or 1 month, something like that. It differs from one system to another system. We'll discuss a little bit in detail when we go to this. Next, another one is called the CMS, Content Management System. So basically, it's an application that is used to manage web content, and it allows multiple contributors to create, edit, and publish. So basically, typically a CMS is stored in a database. The following are the features, basic features of a CMS. Content creation, so allows the users to easily create and format the content. Content storage, it stores content at one place in a consistent fashion. Workflow management, it assigns privileges and responsibilities based on roles such as authors, editors, and admins. Publishing, it organizes and publishes, pushes the content live. And content management systems for education are simply, those are focused and sometimes explicitly built just for educators and those for working in large institutions. And much like any other CMS, there are content creators on the back end and end users are on the front end. Now, examples of CMS, there are lots of them. Once again, popular ones, Weebly, WordPress, I'm sure you have come across these terms, Drupal, Joomla, Magento, Modex, Squarespace, sorry, Wix. So these are a few of the CMS platforms. This is just to give you the features, comparing the features of LMS and CMS. So for us, as in an ICT setup, we need to have LMS in place. Now, what are the tools that are required to have a comprehensive ICT setup? Obviously, we need to have a video conferencing mechanism. Now, it could be a live where you take the class live to the students, or it could be a pre-recorded lecture that you record and then you put it into your LMS for the students to go through. And obviously, like generally, we are at home, so we don't have a blackboard. So what do? You do a presentation and then you present it, right? So the presentation that you need to do must be good. If it is board, we'll write it and then explain it. That's fine. But then now you don't have that scope. So what do? Your PPT or presentation that you do, and that should be visually appealing. And content, you need, so your notes or material or syllabus or the handouts that you want to give to the students, it needs to be shared to the students. And you also need to know the student understanding, whether they're able to follow or not, or whether they have understood the concept or not. So you need to have a poll in place. And importantly, you need to have a mechanism for the assessment. You give some assignment or you give a quiz and then you grade them. So it could be it could be an assessment which can have a due date for it. And when they complete the assessment, it comes back to you. So there should be a report generation happening. Doing it manually takes it a lot of time, and a lot of time and energy needs to be spent in that. So there should be some mechanism wherein the grading happens automatically, and there should be a report generation so that you can share back the marks to the students. And this assessment can be, it could be, as we said, you can have a due date in place and then give them the test, or you can make it instantaneous, assessment. And that you can also make it more interesting and interactive. We'll see as we go along. And also you also need to get the feedback from the students. If things are fine, if they're all able to get the stuff right, so there should be a mechanism to get the feedback from the students. Once again, it could be based on anonymity, or it could they can give their names. Doesn't matter really, because when you say feedback, it's always better to go with anonymity. You don't want which student has given what, what he has said. It's just that you want to get a feel of whether the students have got the concept or not, or how they are feeling, etc. And putting all these together, you should have a good LMS. So all at one place. You should have a good LMS which takes care of all of this. Now, this is ICT tools mind map that I just made. So whatever we have discussed just now, ICT tools in education is a central topic that we are talking about, and all the other things revolve around this. So this is called as mind map. What is shown now on your screen is called as mind map. Mind map basically is a graphical way to represent ideas and concepts. It's a visual thinking tool that helps structuring the information and helping one to analyze things better. So now in this case, ICT tools in education is a central theme, and around it all other ideas are there. So we will talk about the mind maps, we'll talk about the assessment, we'll talk about the LMS, we'll talk about the video conferencing, we'll talk about the quizzes, we'll talk about the video editing or video making, we'll talk about the presentation tools, productivity tools. So for each of them, I tried to give at least 3 to 4 resources, where we can uh, get this done. For example, assessment. So you have BookWidget, you have Wiser.me, you have GoFormative, you have EducaPlay. So these are all websites which offer a provision for assessment. Like that, each of these I have listed out a few things so that it's handy for all of us. Now, probably what I'll try to do in the next half an hour or 1 hour possibly could be go to each of these and then talk more about, take up at least one application and then show you how we can incorporate it or how we can adapt it to our students. So let me just give me a minute. Let me just exit this for a while, and let me now share. Let me share. Yeah, the same mind map again. But yeah, this is Minddemo, okay, minddemo.com, and this helps us to make mind maps. So the reason to come here is, yeah, as I said, the central theme is the ICT tools in education. We said this is a mind map. So now, so mind maps, you have a lot of them. You have Minddemo, you have MindMeister, you have Iowa, you have Coggle, you have Poplet. So all these websites, gives you a provision of creating mind maps. And here also the beautiful thing about the mind map making is that you can get complete information about the website. For example, here what it does. Mindomo is the best all-in-one visual tool to help you make mind mapping, concept mapping, and outlining accessible for students. So this can be done. And this, if you click on this, it will take you to the Mindomo website. Similarly, we can do for all other things. But right now, to start with, so now we are ready for the class, but then you want to get a feel of the class. I mean, something like you want to ask the students before you start the class. Okay, are you ready for the class? Now we are ready. We are ready with the ICT tools. So are you ready for the class? Are you ready, to take the session? Something like that. You want to ask. So basically, you want to raise a poll to the students. So yes, very much we can do that. So I just put that in the productivity tool. So you can see here one Slido poll. So what does it do? Slido is an easy to use Q&A and polling platform. It helps people to get the most out of the meetings and events by bridging the gap between the speakers and the audiences. And it can be used by anyone who looking to enable open conversation at a live meeting, whether in person or virtual. So right now we're talking about virtual. So now let's go to Slido, and then let's see what we can do. So yeah, so when we go to slido.com, I mean the website, and basically I've already logged in, so it is taking to my home page. So else generally what you have to do is you have to register. Typical, you have to register your name, email ID, so password. Once it registers, then your account is created. So you can now create events. So you can click here. Already I just made some events, already, so that we can have a look at it. Or you can just create an event. It doesn't take much time. So when I create an event, for example, I have created this event, okay, something like ICT view. So what is the event that I have created? So let me just go back to the previous one, because I wanted the event that I created was so something like the event that I have created was this. Are you ready for the practical session on ICT? Now you want to ask the students, are you ready for the class, or are you ready to take a test? Something like that. I mean, you just want to know the pulse of the class, whether they are excited to take it, or you just want to get a feel of what students are thinking, or how enthusiastic they are, or how ready they are. So now I've already activated the poll. So basically here you will have a thing which says activate poll. I've already activated the poll. So now you can actually, share this poll with your students. So now copy this link. You just take the link and then post it to your students. Now you can see no one has responded. Okay, right now I just made the poll, but I have not put it onto the classroom. So no one has responded. I'll just show you, since we have copied the link. Let me just paste the link here and then see what happens. So this is like how the students would see it on a screen. So the moment he clicks the link, So are you ready for the practical session on ICT? So let us say yes, I'm ready. So, and then the student sends it back, and so yes, just send it back. So now let's close the, so let's go back to this, and you can see here one student has responded and yes is 100%. So like this, the moment you push it onto the students room, classroom, virtual classroom, they all can respond, and immediately you can see what is the response of the students. So you can get a feel of, the whether the students are ready for something or not. So this is to start off with. It's very simple. If you want me to show how to create a poll, just create a poll. There are many things, multiple choice, open text, word, cloud, rating. So let's do one thing. Let's start with one poll. Rating. It's something like, okay, you have finished your class. Now you want to know whether the students, it's called as exit ticket. So you want to know whether the students have loved the class or not. So something like you put, did you, whatever, love the session? So yeah, let's say this. So I said, did you love the session? Now you can activate the poll. You can, the results are visible, so you want to see the results, right? So there are other things. So now let's activate the poll first. Yes, I've activated the poll. And once again, so you want to share this. So you copy this, send this link to the students. The moment the link, they click the link, it would be redirected to this. Did you love the session? Okay, let's say, okay, fine. Let's say your session was absolutely good. So let's say this is okay, 5 stars. Hello. So now you can, yeah, see here immediately. You can just get the poll. The students would poll, and you would get the results instantaneously. So by this you will get a feel of, okay, so what's the mood of the students and so on. Now how did they love the class, and how did they enjoy the class, etc. So these are the few things that can be done using Slido. Okay. Now let's so let me just so we are done with the Slido. Let me talk about, so once you know the students are ready for the class, now you should have made a presentation. Like I had a PPT, and then I try to tell you what all things we have done, right? So typically we are well versed with PPT, right? Windows, Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. You can make your presentation, very visually aesthetic, visually appealing. So for that we have what is called as a Prezi. So this is a presentation tool. So what does Prezi do? Prezi is a presentation tool that can be used as an alternative to traditional slide making programs such as PowerPoint. Instead of slides, Prezi makes use of one large canvas that allows you to pan and zoom to various parts, etc., etc. Now let me just take you to Prezi to understand what exactly is that. Once again, when you go to Prezi, it will ask you for a login. Once again, it is free. Most of the things what I'm trying to show you are free. At least 90% of them are free, and the remaining 10% of them are free because it's a COVID pandemic, and then they're giving it maybe for 30 days or 60 days. So the reason that why I've chosen free things are, later also, as I said, probably the next 1 year or 2 years, it could be an online and offline mixture of this mechanism. So we need to have these tools available with us. So there's no point in spending amount for them and then doing it. Of course, who can afford it well, but in general, it's I don't feel it's accessible to everyone, paid stuff. So okay, let's get back. So this is Prezi. Now, what do you want to do? You want to do a presentation, right? And you want to make your presentation visually aesthetic. So you can do, so let me just show you one presentation which I just attempted. Okay, I will not say I have done it. So I just attempted to do. But then the reason why I'm not presented in this fashion, I thought instead of PPT, I can show it to you in Prezi itself. But then it's for some reason I was not able to. So just to show you, so the presentation looks something like this. So now you go everything together. So learning mechanisms, blended learning, terminologies, to be known. Just run the presentation. So learning mechanisms. Now you go to that, and in that you have other things. I just missed this slide, so don't worry about it. Like, yeah, what you need to know about blended learning, and you go back to the main. then come back to this, and so all this is it's visually appealing. Now you have, I'll just show you one presentation that's already there in Prezi. You have a lot of templates. Let me show you a few templates that would actually give you a feeling of what Prezi can do. The one that I felt was, yeah, let's look at, you can take this template, okay? So let the presentation load. Now, you can see it. I'll try to show the presentation. There are some 19 slides. Okay, so quickly let's look at it. You can make a presentation like this. You can, there is a provision here. You can just take, you can see it here. You can make a copy of this presentation for you. Let's present this now. The beauty of Prezi. You can edit these topics as per your necessity depending on your presentation, but the template, overall template remains the same. Okay. So, COVID. So what's COVID, and in America, what's happening? How is it? This gives greater details. So next, trust factor between the employees and the company. So leaders have to trust. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Into the detailed review of that. And, explain it. You can explain the specific concepts that you are looking at, and then you can go concept. You can concepts that are there. So what can be done and how it can be done, right? So this presentation, and depending on what you want to convey, we can, as you said, we can just make a copy of this presentation as shown here. Just make a copy. Okay. Because this is a template. You take this template and you try to make your own presentation. So like this, you have so many templates, beautiful templates available in Prezi. It's also arranged, specific to the domain. Maybe I'll just show you that, and then I'll move on to the next one. Yeah. Lots of them in the sense, yeah, you can see here on the left hand side, you have the categories: business, career, video optimized, art and design, business, career, climate change, data analytics, education, healthcare and wellness, HR and recruiting, marketing. So you have so many of them. So let's take let's take one of it. Let's say now probably something like a deeper look into coronavirus. So many templates, so you can make it your own, right? So already we have seen how does the template work, so I'm not going to show this now. So yeah, you can make it visually appealing. So the content you have to make, obviously, but the visual, the effects, or when the student sees it, it makes him more, it makes it interesting. So that's and once we are ready with the PPT, next what do we do? Obviously, we need to have, you start delivering. So it could be a direct delivery or it could be a recorded one. Let us say most of the things that we are doing right now is, let us say we record the class, and then we share it with the students. There are two things. One is you record a class, you make a PPT, you explain it like how I'm doing, and then you record it, and then you post it to your students. Or you can do a live class, like as I said, video conferencing onto the right side. So you can have a Zoom, you can have a Google Meet, you can have a Cisco WebEx thing with the students, and then you deliver the class, any of these. So let me first start with you do the class, you make a recording, and then you post it to students. So you need to know what are the videos. So what are the resources that I have for recording. So video editing, video making, I have put them both together. So video making is video recording thing. So Prezi once again Prezi video is also there, and you also have this A Power Soft. So these two. So for example, let's talk about A Power Soft. A Power Soft free online screen recorder is completely free to use with no time limitation. This is very important. There are other things also like screenomatic, screencastify. So they have a time limit. So you cannot record more than 15 minutes, 1 5. But then this fellow does not have any time limit. This is very important. No watermark. Most of the other things they'll have a watermark, which show that you made it by that. It doesn't matter as such, but still, this A Power Soft is a very good thing. So let me just take you there. So when you click on this A Power Soft, to go to that free online screen recorder, you need not download any software. You just have to download a launcher. There is a launcher. You just have to download the launcher, and then you say start recording. When you say start recording, you will get a panel. I don't want to start it right now, because if I start it, the one that I'm doing right now, it can clash with that probably. So, but these are the steps. You download this. You just say start recording. Uh, you have to download a small, some maybe 5 MB launcher. It will launch it. It's very simple, and then it will give you options record, and you can also annotate. I mean, in the sense you can have a pointer to click whenever you're explaining. You can click and then explain. That also is there. The beauty of it is there's no time limit and there's no watermarking, and you can save the file after recording. You can save the file in your system itself, and it also compresses it. So probably something like for a 15-minute session, roughly it will take some 10 MB or 15 MB, not more than that. Okay. So this is about A Power Soft. The other one is Prezi Video. Once again, uh, what does it do? So Prezi Video. Prezi Video is easy to use video maker that puts you next to your content in real time. Live stream from your computer or record your message to share late. So now you want to do it in a different style. So what is the what do you mean by different style? Let me show you. So now it will take you to videos, my videos. If in case you have made any video, it will show you here. But okay, let me explore the video gallery that's already available. My aim is to show you what could be done. Okay. So maybe let me take you to give me a minute. It's loading. I wanted to, and in that we have so you yeah, Rachel's stop. Okay, I don't want this. What I wanted to show you is this one. So wherein you have a PPT, you made a thing, you already have a PPT with you, you have made it with a Prezi presentation. Now you want to record that video. So you want you to be there and then the presentation to be there. I'll just show you, maybe for 10 seconds or 15 seconds. You can just get a feel of it. So the main idea of showing you this is, we can make a presentation wherein you have your presentation and when you are explaining it, so you also could be there, recorded part of that. So this is one thing that's possible. So like this, there are once again some 3 to 4 templates in Prezi video. You just have to let me just go back. You just have to download Prezi video thing. So yeah, you can see on the left corner, get Prezi video on desktop. It is around 250 MB, I guess. Yeah, 250 to 300 MB. Once you download it, and then once that is installed, you have some 3 to 4 templates in which you can do either you can just show you only your screen. You need not be a part of that, or you can show your screen as well as a small part of you. I mean, you as a small part in the screen, probably to one corner, or as I have shown you, you can explain as well as the presentation can go on parallelly. So all these different modes are there in Prezi. So this is the beauty of Prezi video. So please do explore it, and I'm sure you're gonna love it. So PowerSoft and Prezi, like for video making. Uh, Now, once you're done with the video, now you want to edit it or you want to add something to it in the starting, or at the end, you forgot it or you want to make it more, interesting. You want to add something, so you can do that by video editing software. You can have this Movely, you can have video, or you can have Animoto. So I've just listed out 3 of them. You can go with any of them. For example, let us say I'm going with Animoto. So what does it do? Animoto is a cloud-based video creation service that produces video from photos, video clips, and music into video slideshows and customized web-based presentations. Or you can go with VVideo. It's a video editing software. It is a media library wherein components like audio clips, video clips, and effects are stored. I'm sorry, timeline tracks where you place these media components in order to build your video. So basically, you can record your video, you can clip, you can add something in between, something at the start or at the end. All this is possible. So video editing can be done, and these are a few of these things that I have listed out here. So video recording is one thing. Now, or as I said, no, you don't want to record your class and then post it to your students. You just want directly to interact with by a video conferencing mechanism. Yes, feasible. You have so many of them. Google Meet is there, Cisco WebEx is there, Skype, Microsoft Teams, GoToMeeting. So all these are there. Once again, as I said, they have their own. Some are paid. Like for example, let me just so Zoom, for example, it gives you 40 minutes of free, video conferencing, and yeah, up to 100 participants. So if your class strength is 100 and you don't want to take class more than 40 minutes, yeah, you can go with Zoom or Google Meet for that matter. So Google Meet, I think now they are giving it for 1 hour if I'm correct, and possibly I guess it's once again for 100 participants. Or Cisco WebEx again. Cisco WebEx is giving for 1 hour, I guess, and 100 participants for free. And most probably, I think the latest update is Cisco WebEx. I think it's giving unlimited for free till the pandemic is getting over, I guess. Okay, so please do check out. So you can go with any of this, so Zoom or Google Meet. Let me just show you. So yeah, Zoom is a web-based video conferencing tool, right, with a local desktop client and mobile app. Yeah, so free for 40 minutes, up to 100 participants. That's important. And the free meetings can be scheduled up to 100 people that can last any amount of time. Yeah, it's right now it's 60 minutes. Okay, September. Yeah, after September, free accounts will be limited to meetings that don't run longer than 60 minutes. So I guess 60 minutes is the limit that we have. Okay, on Google Meet. It has screen sharing, meeting recording, customizable layouts, and etc. So I guess, or I think because of COVID pandemic, latest I think update is they are giving it for free in India, I guess. So please do check out. Maybe I'll just talk about 1 or 2 of them. Maybe I'll just quickly talk about. Yeah, let me just go to Zoom. So yeah, so it'll ask you to sign up. So you can just sign up, and once you sign up, you will get your account. Maybe I'll do one thing. Let me just let me just show you the Zoom thing. So I have to stop sharing this, and then let me open the Zoom, and then let me share yeah, Zoom meetings for now. Okay. So yeah, so you'll have this Zoom meetings thing. So I have already logged in. So this is my account in Zoom, for example. So now what all can be done? You can schedule a new meeting, or you can join a meeting. You just need a meeting ID and a password, or you want to schedule it right now. Let us say it's 2:49 p.m. You want to schedule a meeting at 4 o'clock, so you can go to schedule, and then you can give a topic. Let us say session on ICT tools, something like that. Give it to students at 4 p.m. 14th May 2020, and then your password, the required meeting password. You can put that. Okay. Video, you don't want the participant to you don't want the host to on the video. Of the video options are the participants on the video, of the video, and then you want to put it on the Google Calendar so that it's readily available. So other options are there. Enable waiting room, so which means, let us say you schedule it 4 o'clock. The candidate is more excited, so he logs in at, let us say, 3:55 or 3:45. So you don't want to disappoint him, so you just enable waiting room. So it says, okay, just wait, the host is ready to accept you, something like that. It gives him a clue. Or you can enable join before host. You didn't start it, but he can join before you joins. That's there. Mute participants upon entry. Generally, when you have larger you are starting a class, you don't want everyone to start speaking because everyone's mic is on, right? So you can mute participants upon entry, and there are other things that are there. So you can schedule this. Okay, so let me just schedule. So this schedules, and then now you can see here session on ICT tools. You can start it. No, I don't want to start it because it's at 4 p.m. You have meeting ID, and you can copy the invitation, and then you can post. So once you copy the invitation, you can post it to your students, and then your class starts. You can also share the screen. This is, once you start the class, there is a screen sharing option where you can share your PPT, and then you can start explaining, and that's how class can run for 40 minutes again. Okay. So let me stop this. So this is all about Zoom. And let me go back. Let me go back to yeah, this. Let me just 1 minute. Let me just yeah. Let me share the Chrome back, the mind map thing, so that we can go ahead. Yeah. So that's about Zoom. Or you can go to Google Meet. Once again, you just say, go to Google Meet. That's take you to the home page of the Google Meet. I have account with them, so it is already showing it. So now joiner start a meeting. What do I want to do? Let's see. Let's see. Joiner start a meeting. Now you enter the meeting code or nickname. So basically, you should have a meeting code that someone else shares you. So right now, you are a teacher. You want to give a meeting. You want to start a meeting. Start. Calendar. Okay. So learn how to schedule. We'll go to Google Calendar. Yeah. So where is my Google Calendar? I can go to Google Calendar. I can schedule a meeting. Yeah. Let me just go to my Google Calendar. How do you schedule a meeting in Google Meet? So I have some assignments already given to students or the deadlines. So now let us say you want to add Google Meet video conferencing, and then you can add the guests. So whom all you want to participate. Once again, I just talked to you about the LMS, right? So Google Classroom. From the Google Classroom directly, you can access the Google Meet. Okay, or you can do it independently like this. Fine. So yeah, you can schedule it like this. So let me close this. So from the Google Calendar, you can schedule a Google Meet. So let me just you want to join a meeting, already someone else would have given you the link. So just go to your Google Meet as set some time back, or just join a meet. He would have given you that meeting, and then the meeting code is, you put the meeting code and then say continue. It will take you to the meeting, and then you can start it off. You can join the meeting. So this is about the Google Meet. Same features are there. You can once you start the meet, you can start sharing your screen, start explaining the things to your students, and then you can take a class live. Once again, recording. Now, can I record a Zoom session? Can I record a Google Meet session? The answer is yes. Zoom, once again, 40 minutes you can record, not more than that. You can record it onto your system. Google Meet, if you are a G Suite customer, the recording facility is there. For normal users like you and me, for example, we don't have the video recording in Google Meet as such. So if you have a G Suite for education, then yes, possibility is there. And once again, two possibilities: you can record in cloud, or you can record in your computer locally. So I talked about the Zoom free version. If you take Zoom paid version, you can just record, and the recording is saved in the cloud, so you can save space in your system. So all these are feasible. The more the money you pay, either Zoom or Google Meet, more the features you get. Something like this cloud and etc. etc. 100 participants will become 1,000 participants, 10,000 participants in Zoom, for example. Like that, the same feature is true for Google Meet and Cisco WebEx also. The same thing. So free version, as far as I know right now, it's offering free. So anything you can prefer. For me, yeah, Zoom is okay. I can go ahead with Zoom, or I can go ahead with Google Meet. So, yeah. Or there's one more dedicated to Microsoft Teams. You have heard about this Office 365 Microsoft Teams. So here you can make dedicated teams like classrooms, whatever, and then you can deliver. So costly, of course. So it's up to you. I mean, and your organization how to go about. But if I have to take, I'm comfortable with Zoom or Google Meet or Cisco WebEx. Yeah. All other options, yeah, I've listed it out. Skype, you can take Skype meeting, you can take Microsoft Teams, or GoToMeeting is also free for limited time. Yes, you can take any of this. So this is all about the video conference. So now you are done with your presentation. You knew whether the students were, you took a poll, you started off, you made a presentation, you have recorded the class, you have given a lecture to the class, either live or the recorded one by a PowerSoft or Prezi video. Now what next? They have learned the concept. Now what do you want to do? Yeah. Yes, you got it right. Now you want to assess them. You want to assess them. So you want to know whether what you have taught them, they have got it or not. Okay, let's assess them. So Wiser.me, GoFormative, EducaPlay, a few of them. There are so many of them. These are a few of them. So you can assess them. So let me see what this does. So Bookwiz is a platform that lets educators create interactive activities and engage the teaching material to be used on Android tablets, PCs, etc. You can create interactive exercise and automatically grade tests. The most important, once again, as I told you, the moment you give a test, you want to make sure that it gets graded automatically, because let us say you have two classes, each class has some 50 students. Now you cannot evaluate 50 of them, per quiz. Two classes, 100 quizzes. You cannot do it every other day, right? So you want it to be an auto graded test, right? Yeah, Bookwiz just does it. Other ones are there, they also do it. Go for my let me just say to Bookwiz. And then let's try to understand how it works and what it does. By the way, this gives us 2 months of free trial because of COVID pandemic. This was interesting for me, so I'm just showing you this. The other ones, GoFormative, which I'm going to show you in a while from now, that is also free. This has more features though. Right. So now, yeah. So, but yeah, once again, you log in, you sign up, you log in, and then go to the widgets. So you want to create a new widget, right? Or you want to I have not done anything on ICT here. Okay. Yeah, anything you can take. Okay, let me say I want to create a new widget. Let me just show you how to create a new widget. Once again, I told you about the exit slip, right? So you can create an exit slip here. How was the session today? Smiley or sad? You can put all of that anyways. Okay, so let me show you how to make a quiz. So so that we can get a first-hand experience of it. Let me make a widget, doesn't take more time. Just that I have to type in the questions. Now, name, you want to name it? Let me say ICT session 1, we'll let something, and let's say quiz to be more clear. Right. Okay, now let's add questions. What question you want to add? Do you want to have it as a, text? You give some question, you expect the student to write back the answer, or you want it to be a multiple choice question, or you give options and one or more options could be correct, or it's a blank single line text. So all these are feasible. Let me just choose something. An example of, yeah, whatever. So let me give you the options. Give me an example of LMS, CMS, so what's the answer? You have to tick the answer actually. So these are the options, you have to tick the answer. So let me take video conference because that's the right answer. Okay. You have the other options, random answer order. You don't want students, all of them to get the same ABC, ABC in the same order. So you can just, that fellow will swap it for you if you choose this random answer order. That's fine. Anything you can do a lot of things. You can add an image, you can show it and then say, okay, what is this? Something like that. You can put audio, you can put your audio and then you can ask them identify this voice, something like that. Scoring options, let me go to scoring options. So yeah, 1 mark. Yeah, this is 1. Yeah, next. So let me go to second question. So let me go back to the questions, add question very quickly. Yeah, let me now put a blank. So what anything, yeah. So okay, Google Classroom is an example of. So what's the correct answer? LMS. Okay, so scoring options I have already put one, so don't worry. Add a question already. Sometimes what happens is just to come back to this. Sometimes so you can make it case sensitive, case insensitive. So yes, it's okay. So or else some people, some students can be giving an answer learning system. So you don't want them to lose out. So yeah. Yeah. So as he says, separated by double hash. So that's what I've done. So I just separated by double hash. This can be done. So they give answer as LMS or a learning management system. It will take it as correct. Yeah, one more last question I'll add and then I'll stop. So anything. So example of video recording, tool, please. So let me give Slido. Let me give Edmodo. Let me give a power soft. So I know this is the answer. Yes, let me take it. And yeah, I don't want to do anything. That's okay. So you can preview. So this is similar. So you can preview your questions. So how the students, once you send it to students, this is how it looks like for the students. The first question, zoom an example of something you answer. So let us say the student is answering, so because he says LMS, then he goes to next CMS, and then classroom is an example of, so he says LMS. Next third question, example of video recording tool is, he says, let us say your answers. Okay, I think I'm fine, so I'll just submit. So now he'll ask the student name, student email, teacher email. So yeah, you can put it or you need not put it, nothing will happen, just say send. And the answers. So he can also see, because I have given an option in the settings that once the test is submitted, let him get the answers, correct or wrong. So this will give you the right answers for him. Yes, first one he has answered it right, and second one he has answered it right, and third one he has answered it wrong. So I guess first one he has answered it wrong, right? So he can compare. So he said CMS, but it is not CMS. Immediately he'll get to know how many marks he has got. So, but anyway, this is only review. Yeah. So yeah. Now what do you want to do? You want to share this. So you want to share it to your students. It's not one student, right? There are some 50 or 100 students. So you can share this to them. There are two ways to share it. There is a link that's given. So you take the link and then you post the link to all of them. Once again, as I have shown, they just have to enter their ID or class, their name or ID, unique ID. You can see here one number has come up. A quiz thing has come up. Or you can do one more thing. You can directly send it to a Google Classroom. This is integrated with Google Classroom. There are many things which are integrated. I told you we should have a good LMS in place. Google Classroom is one LMS, so you can directly send it. So these are, for example, my Google Classroom classes. You can send it to any of this. Let us say sample class, and then send it. Or you want other. You want to send a link. You don't want to send it to Google Classroom. You want to send a link, so you just copy this link and then you can share it with your students. Okay, so once they click on the link, what will happen? The thing that we have seen in the preview, that would come up. Okay, so control C, or as I said, you can just send it to Google Classroom. I'll just send it also, because when I discuss Google Classroom, we'll also say sample class, and then close. Yeah, let me say send it. So this assignment, ICT session 1 quiz, I have posted it to my Google Classroom. Or as we have seen, I have sent the link to my students. So either of it you can do. We'll come back to this later. Okay. So now once they answer, you can get all their reports. Now I'll just show you the previous one which I have done, because now answering is difficult. So let me show you just random the previous one which I have done. So this of the different quizzes that I have got. Something. Let me just click. So this is some quiz that I have shared with the students. So 53 of them have responded, and yeah, I want to see. Let's say I want to see their grades also. It will show me immediately because it's auto graded, right? So now it can also tell me. For example, I give five bits here. First bit, how many have got it right? Second bit, all this information that will give you, and all the students who have responded, it will give you their marks for the first bit, second bit, and blah blah blah. It will give you stats. Okay, so right now the median is 5, which means yeah, they're doing good. So they have understood what I have taught. I mean, it's not like that, but yes. So yes, so the graded thing, right? So this is all about auto graded. And as I said, you can integrate this with Google Classroom as I have shown you. So keep this in mind. So these are the advantages of book widgets. And okay, that's all about book widgets. So let's go to the another one. Teams like Classroom, you can do that, or another. Okay, let me just log in and then show you how it works. Dot page. Okay. So you can make a quiz new formative, which means new quiz. You can make a new quiz. So again, add your title here. So ICT 2 something. Let's add. So what do you want to do now? See this. You want multiple selection. You want a short answer. You want true or false. You want a multiple choice. And once again, all the other star ones are from premium. I don't want to become premium. I'm okay with whatever tools I have. I can make. I mean, we are comfortable with the tools. So I don't want premium. So I'm not gone for it. So let me say true or false. Whatever. Google Meet is an example of video conferencing. So you should put the answer. It's true, right? So okay, just say true, and then yeah, it carries 1 point. You want to increase the points, you can put here. It carries 2 points. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. Okay, next you want to add another one. So let us say you want to add multiple questions. So second question is a multiple question. What's the question? Yeah. The following is an example of presentation software. So okay, something is Zoom, and it's not. The other one could be. So let me give the right answer. So what's that? So crazy. Let me give go formative for that matter. What's the right answer? Yeah, we know Prezi is the right answer. 1 point is okay. So yeah, that's it. Now you have this is the question. So now next is assign. You have to assign. Now you can add a new class. The beauty of this is you have to add. So you have to create a new class. So let me say ICT. Class is year. Okay. First year. I'm sorry. First year engineering dash 305 something. So you simply say E1 dash 305. Great. So now E1, right? So it's let me put it in higher education subjects ICT. So right now let me put it into other. Doesn't matter. Something I choose. So yeah, so I'm creating this class. Now yeah, please look at this. So it generates a class code YC5MW6. Let me copy this. Ascend. So no, I'm not assigned. I'll assign it now. So yes, and then I'll say assign. That's it. So it is assigned. So now what you have to do? So you can go to this. If the student is already there in that class, he'll directly see the ICT2 test and then he can answer. Or once again, you can post it directly to the Google Classroom. This facility is also there in Go Formative. Or it will give you a link. Click the link, give the answer. Let me show you. So it's already assigned. So let me log out from here just for a while. Roshan's class first year engineering whatever 305. I'm sorry, there's spell error. Don't worry about it. So he's saying create account login. So let us say I don't have an account, so I can create an account. I'm a teacher. I'm a student. Obviously, I'm a student because that's how I'm taking. So what do I need to create account now? Go formative. So he can create an account or he can just log in. Let me try my luck if I have the other account at gmail.com. So let me log in. I hope. So I don't want to create another account. That's why. Just got to show you. I think at that time I signed it by Google by Gmail. Google. I'm sorry. So yeah, okay. Okay, so he'll ask you to, that he can access these. So yeah, my aim is to just show you how to take the test. So it's okay. So now you can see the one student has joined. So once he joins, he's there in your class forever. I mean, forever means yes, till you abandon that class. So it's there. So now he opens the quiz, and these are the questions. This is how he sees them. So which let him answer now. So what's a mind mapping software? Mind Domo, let's say. To G3. I I logged in this account. I had joined previously, to another class. So that is why it is three thing. Anyways, in any case, let me just answer this. Edmodo is an example of LMS. So let me say false. Book widgets the dash tool. So assessment tool, and let me submit this. Submit exit assignment. Okay, submitted. It has been submitted. Okay. So now, just for a while, class, maybe I think, join, see, I can join this new class, as I told you. So join Roshan's class. Now, this is where it popped up, right? So I was talking, the quiz that we made just now is this ICT 2. So let me open that. We just made it right now. So Gmeet is an example of video conferencing, true, false. Hello, let's say true, and the presentation software. Go formattive. It can be right, it can be wrong. So submit. Okay, logged. I can give the students an option that he can see the results the moment he submits, or I think here I am not given it, so he is not able to see it. We go to my teacher account, and then I want to show you about the, yeah. So ICT2, as you can see, even is the class that I made just now, right? So let me go to that. Yeah. So yes, this fellow has already answered that. One student has answered that. Okay. So you can see the overall thing. So for example, now this is me, the other account of mine, right? So I took two tests out of it. In the first test, I showed you both the tests sometime back. First test I've got 67%. Second test I've got 67%. The test that we made just now is this. So you want to see whether which that fellow has attempted, which he has not attempted. So you can see here. So he has got 2 out of 3 points, because you remember first question we gave 2 points and second question was 1 point. So he has answered it true. So he got this. The timing when he has answered, date and time you will get, and this he has not answered. So it's auto grade, as you can see here. So like that you will get the details of all the students. So you can export this also. If you have a lot of students, you can export all the data, and that's what you're looking at. So go formative. You can directly post it to the Google Classroom, or you can create a special assessment class wherein you can post all your assessments there. Once the student logs in once, all your only for assessment purposes. Go formative. I'm not doing anything else other than that, other than for assessment purposes. So you can use either book widgets or go formative depending on what is okay for you. Both are good. So book widgets have more features. Okay. Okay, right. So I hope this is clear. So assessment is clear. So let me close this. So we are done with the assessment. Now I want to make some assessments or quizzes which are more interactive, interesting, not the typical, assignments which we have been doing. You submit, get some. So it should not be like a marks. It should be like a game. Gamification. All right. So there are so many of them. This is called as instantaneous assessment, and it's like playing a game. You can have a leaderboard. The first is this, second fellow is this, fastest fingers first. So you can have all of that. So you can ask all your students. So now it is 3:18. So at 4 o'clock, you all come online. I'm going to give you an assessment. Okay, spot assessment, or I'm going to give you a challenge in whatever I've discussed. So that's the thing that you tell your students. And you can do all of that in this Visualize, Kahoot, Mentimeter, Jeopardy Labs. So all these uh, support what I've told you just now. So you can have instantaneous quiz and something like a game, so they can enjoy it. So Quizalize. What will it do? It's an online platform for classroom polling and assessing that can be accessed by computer. So I prefer this for assessing rather than for polling. And Kahoot. Kahoot is a game-based learning platform used for education technology in schools and other education institutions. Right? You can generate multiple choice quizzes that can be accessed via app or browser. Mentimeter is another good one. Quizlet is also good. Mentimeter is a closed-based solution that allows you to engage and interact with your target audience in real time. Well, let me quickly go to a Mentimeter. Let me go to the Mentimeter, and so yeah. So already, once again, you're just log in. This is free again. I have already logged in. So yeah, let me go to my presentations, your presentations. I already made something ready for us so that we need not. So ICT quiz. So let me click on this. Let me click on this. I made 3 questions. Okay. Share this. Yeah, the test is not yet taken. So let me share this. So what you have to do is you just have to your students. You just have to give the link to them, copy the link or give to the link, or you just say, because you said 4 o'clock we have a quiz, so go to 4 o'clock. You can add a leaderboard. There are hundreds of students. You want the students to know who has answered it fast, who is first, like that. You can add a leaderboard right now, or you can just present it right away. So let me present it right away. So what you have to do, it is telling you. So yeah, you are ready to start the quiz, but there are no players. So what should the players do? They should go to this www.menti.com and they should use that code, a random code. So here on the right corner, 0 fellows are there. So no one is ready. Now let me make 1 to 2 fellows ready. So I'm just trying to do it from my phone and other desktop. Let me do it. So www.menti.com, and then what's the code? Let me use the code 1388291 38829. Submit. Okay, one fellow is ready to. So what it does is it asks me my name. So you can see one fellow has come on the right side. Let me log in through my mobile also, so that I want at least 2 people to play so that you can understand what is happening. www.menti.com. Click on that, and code is 138829. Just give me a minute, it's loading in my mobile. So meanwhile, let me give some name for this fellow. The first fellow, let me give it as okay. So let's say Rakesh is taking the test. Okay, so let him join the quiz. So the other fellow is also ready. So 1313829. Yeah, submit. Now you can see I just joined it. So it should show there on your screen. It should show 2 fellows having joined the test. Yeah, now you can see 2 fellows. So let me say one is Sai, another I have just named it as Rakesh. So Rakesh has joined, Sai has joined. Okay, now what you want to do? Now you want to start the quiz. Now start the quiz. In it, so they can the candidates can see the question now. So Edmodo is an example of, I gave them 5 seconds to read the question. So now answer. One fellow has answered something, one fellow has answered something else. Okay, so 2 fellows says everyone has voted. No, it is telling you everyone. So both of them have voted, right? So let's see what are the answers. So one fellow said it's LMS, one fellow said it's CMS, and they can see that it's a first is the right answer, and I can see on my screen. The student can see on his screen that it's first it's a wrong answer or correct answer. Next, go to the next one. You can go to the next one. So your second question, you're waiting for second question. So there were 3 questions, right? So Mentimeter is an example of, he can see it for 5 seconds on his screen. The question, he can see it for 5 seconds on his screen. Let's answer something. Mentimeter, LMS, and assessment. Once again, it tells me how much time I have taken, and it also gives me the answers that the students have given. So you can see it by yourself. 2 fellows have voted, and third one, let me make it. Okay, this is okay. So I made one more. How is the session so far? So let us say you are giving a talk, you're giving your class. Now you want to just know the pulse of the student. So you can just simply say, okay, how is the session so far? They can answer. It's up to them. So good, okay, bad is what I have put. So it's up to them. So I don't want to be okay. So submit, and let this will also submit. Submit. So both of them have submitted, and you can see. So 50. So one fellow said good is 50%, okay is 50%. So that's it. So the test is ended. You can get, if I had said leaderboard, if I had said leaderboard, you would have got all those fellows. If more students are there, leaderboard makes it more interesting. So you can also see download the results. You can download the results. See, you can see, here one fellow has answered this and one fellow has answered this and 50%, 50%. So you can get this also. You can also export the quiz. 3 questions were there, right? You can export the quiz and then you can have it with you. Or you can export the results to your Excel sheet also. But right now, I'm not interested. You have to upgrade yourself to do that. I'm not interested. It's just for engaging. I don't want to give marks for my students also. I just want them to compete against each other in a shorter duration. So yes, Mentimeter helps me to do that. Another one, similar to Mentimeter, visualize. Let me show you. So you have to just sign up with all of these. All these are free, ready to use. So yes, my library. So I think I had one. I made one. So something I made. So you can make fresh one. Create a new quiz. You can do that, but it's okay right now. Yeah, it's there. So yeah, open it up. You can play the quiz right now, right away, or share a link. The students can click on the link and then they can play, or you start a class game. So looks to the student. So let me say this, and this is how the student can see. Okay, this is how now. This is how the student can see. All the students can see. So 20 seconds per question, and 3 questions are there. So something it's related to physics. So intrinsic semiconductor star. So something and so I said the moment he submits, give him whether it's correct or not. So something it's physics. So yeah, that's right. So one question carries 200 marks here for that matter. So it gives you the time also that he takes. So yeah, what is flipped learning? So blended learning, hybrid learning, all the above. So let me put that. So yeah, time 3.04 seconds. Next. So quiz completed. My score is 2. I mean 2. I have answered it right. So my score is 390. I told you 390. So if I put a leaderboard, it will give you depending on like fastest finger first. It will give you the top place for that fellow who has answered most of them correct in the shortest time. I repeat, the top position in the leaderboard will be given to that fellow who scores most of them in the shortest time. So accordingly, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a class of 50 students, you will get the leaderboard 1 to 50. That makes it very interesting. Okay, you don't want to assess the students based on this, but you want to make it more interesting, like a game. You can. So this is the beauty of visualize. Kahoot also same thing. Whatever we have done in visualize Mentimeter, you can do the same in Kahoot. More like a game, gamification of assessment. A quiz, which makes it more interesting to the students. So as I told you once again, so they need not log in. They just have to give their names because my main intention is not to assess them. My intention is to just give them a feel of give them make it more interesting. So they just give their name or nickname. That's enough for me. But I just want to know. Make it more interesting for them. Okay, that's about quizzes. Instantaneous assessment, you can call it, or it's just for making it more interactive and interesting for the students. So now assessment part is also over. What else we are left with? Yeah, 2 more things. So now let me show you one more interesting thing. Vocabulary learning. It's something like a visual dictionary. So let me just take you to, let's just deviate here for a while. So let me take you to Snappy Words. So it's a free visual English online dictionary that makes learning interesting. So let me go to Snappy Words. Yeah. So okay, right. Okay, now what I want. So let me say something. Let me say. So let me say. anything. Management, let me say management. I want to know what is meant by management. Now what it gives me, you can see here. No, it is not taken. So let me give. Yeah, it is taken. Yeah. Now you can see here. It gives me a lot of things related to the management. Okay. Now you can hover around. So management. Let me just put administration disposal. You can hover around that. It will give you the meaning of that. So administration disposal, a method of tending to or managing the affairs of some group of people. That's administration for you. Social control, control exerted by group action. Something like supervision, management by overseeing the performance or operation of a person or a group. So many of them, and you can also see if I just go down a bit, it can tell you. So these are the different colors. Each of them indicates something. So it's a word for, its attribute, it's a kind of, it's topic domain, reason domain. And it will also tell you whether it's a noun, verb, adjective, adverb. It's there down. You can see them. So a lot of things related to the term management will be given to you, and this makes the learning more interesting. Homemaking, the management of a household. So yeah, Snappy Words is an online interactive English dictionary and thesaurus that helps you find the meanings of words and draw the connections to the associated words. So this makes it more interesting for the students to learn more terms and associated terms. Okay. So it's free, so it's interesting, and the students would love it. So you can do anything. You can say anything. So okay, something, anything is okay. So marriage. So let me just say marriage. It'll give me, all the associated words with the marriage. Yeah, so many of them. Marriage, married couple, wedding ceremony, matrimony, intermarriage, and then yeah, so many of them. Family, etc., etc. And you can see what those mean: nouns, verbs, adjectives, and all of them. So this is snappy words for you. Visual interactive English dictionary and a thesaurus, which gives you all the associated words, and you can hover upon each of them. You can hover upon each of them and then to get the meaning of it. So family, yeah, graph words, word reference, there's one more visu words. All of these fall into this vocabulary learning. So we are done with video editing, presentation tools, quizzes, video conferencing, productivity tools. Yeah, Slido I have discussed. Google Docs. Okay, I'll maybe come to that. So Google Docs, this is the most common thing that I think people would be knowing. I mean, one expects people to know. So here also you can do the assessments, and here also you can. There are two things here. One is a Google form, and another is a Google spreadsheet. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about it later. So yeah, let's continue. So mind maps we are done, assessment we are done. So yes, last thing that we are left with is LMS, Learning Management System. Now I told you that whatever we have seen just now, right now, are all bits and pieces. So now I want all of them at one place. I should have a good, proper learning management system where all of this, whatever I've discussed, the assessment part of it, the video conferencing part of it, the recording, posting part of it, putting the content parts of it, okay, giving the quiz part of it, giving the assessment part of it, everything should be there at one place. And that's a LMS. So what all are available? Google Classroom, Edmodo, Canvas, VisIQ, Classroom, a few of them, or these, there are so many more. Okay. Google Classroom, yeah, is most widely used, but once again, you need to have a G Suite account to explore the features of it. So I'll just try to explore Google Classroom a bit and Edmodo. I love Edmodo. It's completely free. Okay, no barriers, nothing, completely free. Edmodo. Okay, we'll talk about that, but just let me go to Google Classroom. Okay. Yeah, so don't worry about them. So now what you can do? So you can, okay, first, I'm sorry, first, so you can create or join a class. So join class, create class. It's a create class. Okay, sample 2 section, give something. So E1 307, something. Subject, chalo, ICT, room number. Okay, chalo, once again 307. So create a class. Okay, the moment you create a class, I'll get a class code, what is called as a class code. All the students have to join that particular class. Taking time to create. Yeah, it has created. Yeah, sample 2, you can see here, it is a class code. Now you just have to give this class code to your students. That's all. Don't do anything else. Just give this class code to your students and then ask them to join. So what do? Of course, as I told you, it's a G Suite educational thing. So they just go there and then they join the class. There are two concepts there: join class, create class. So they join the class. They click on the join the class and they put this code, and then they are into your class. Okay. So let me just take you back to my. Then added one or two fellows if I'm correct. So sample class. People. So yes, I added two fellows. Okay, so this for now. What all you can do a lot of things. You can post assignments. You can share something with your class. So okay, so let's be all. Let's meet at 4 p.m. today. Okay, let me generate a meeting. Generate meet link. Copy. And I post them the link where we are going to meet. So I just post it to my class. So 4 p.m. they log on to that and then I'm live. So I start discussing something or whatever. Okay, so post created. Or you want to give them some reading material. So you can add a file if the file is in Google Drive, or you can put a link to something. Let me just say, yeah, okay. Add a file, so you can add a file from your system. So select files from your device. You can do all of that, or you can add a link to YouTube. So you find something interesting explanation of some concept on YouTube. So you just have to add YouTube, and then it'll when the student clicks on that, it'll take him there, and you can post. So you can do all of this. So you can stream. This is all streaming. You can, as we said, you can post your material. You can schedule the class, or let us say you have done a video recording, like Jimmy. You have made a class, and then you want to just post the recording of it. So let's say file and select files from your device. So this PC, and you can. Something. So yeah, upload. You say upload. It's just a 15 MB file, so it will just take some time to upload. My aim is to just show you, how we can do. So now that's it. And okay, dear students, dear all, please find today's lecture. That's it. So now your lecture is gone, has gone to the students. Next. So like this, you can share material. You can generate direct video links and then give it to them, or you can post assignments. Now please see this. Rakesh Roshan posted a new assignment via book widgets. You remember when I was explaining you the book widgets, I said post it to Google Class, so it has come to my class. So you can see it is assigned to two fellows. Don't worry about it. My aim is to just show you whether it is assigned or not. Yeah, this is the quiz. So this is the quiz. When the student clicks, it will take him, there. So it'll ask him to sign, blah blah blah. Already, if I have already signed it, just take me to the assignment. Okay. So let me just go back. So assessment is taken care of, right? So you can do it by formative. You can do it by Book widgets, I did it by EducaPlay. I didn't explain you, but I said this is one of the ones that I have listed. I can show you. So here, assessment, EducaPlay is also there. So I posted one through EducaPlay, and it has come to me. So Rakesh hasn't posted a new assignment, so you can go there, and then he can answer. He can answer, and then he can answer it. And then it's auto graded. All the grades are there in my so grades. You can see here grades. Have posted so many assignments, and this fellow has have answered. So here he got 100 marks, 100 marks. Here this fellow missed, he didn't answer. This fellow answered, and this is all you can do. Okay, so let me just go back to stream, and so you can post assessments, you can get the grades, you can have the grade readily available with you. You can give the classwork. So these are all the classes that I have given to these fellows so far, just for our understanding. You can schedule Google Meet not at 4 p.m. in a Google Calendar. Let us say tomorrow 9 a.m. you want to have a class, so you can do it by Meet, or you want to meet right now, you can go by Meet. You want to schedule Google Meet tomorrow, yes, you can schedule. All of that you can do, and all your files are stored in this class folder. So it has all the materials that I have posted. I have posted this. I have posted a blank quiz. Okay, so all of this is very much there. All about Google Classroom. You can do a lot of things in Google Classroom, but right now let me restrict myself, and yeah, maybe I'll just show you one more thing, and then I'll quick data assessment here. So classwork, create. No, you don't want book widgets. You don't want Educa Play. You just want to create an assignment here. So let's say quiz assignment. I want to create a quiz assignment here. Now what it does is it creates a Google form. Okay, it creates a Google form. I was trying to tell you some time back about Google form. Maybe I'll just do quickly here. So okay, test 001 something. Or the following something. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So now you have to create a assignment. So this is a Google form, typical Google form that everyone or most of us are aware. If you're not aware, just go to Google form with your Google account. Google form, create a Google form. It's a blank Google form. Now name it. Name it. Let me just name it. So let me call it as ICT quiz. ICT quiz. Okay. Description is not required. So yeah, question. Let me give a question. So let me give only one question so that Zoom is and why so many times we are talking about Zoom. Okay. Yeah. Google Classroom and Ed Modo are examples of. By the way, before that, I can choose short answer type question, paragraph type question, multiple choice type question, checkbox, drop down, anything I can do. So right now, let me choose a multiple choice so that life becomes easier for me. Option one, LMS. You need not put it. You can put it anywhere. So CMS, add option. LMS, add option. Presentation. What's the answer? You have to give the answer, right? And the point. So answer key. You have to give the key. So what's the answer? The answer is LMS. So let me put LMS. And how many points you want to give? You want to give 1 point. And then say done. That's it. Your questions. You can make it mandatory. This. So if you say required without answering this, that fellow, I mean, that fellow cannot end the quiz. Okay. So not. It's okay. So if it's okay, you can answer it. So that's it. Uh, one question is enough for us to just understand. So now, okay. So that's it. So let me close this. So let me come back to this. So now I put here. See, I put grade importing. What it does is, when I say grade importing, what it does is it imports all those grades automatically. Okay, whatever the my students will answer it. Okay, whatever auto graded thing is there. Their grades will be imported to my homepage here. So now I want to post it. Now, whom do you want to post it? I have so many classes. I want to post it to the sample class that I have created. So yes, that's enough. So you want to post to all the students. Now the beauty of Google Classroom is there is something which is called as differentiation learning. Now you know some students are weak. You know some students are very good. So now you want to give different level quizzes to different students. In case if you want to do that, you can very much do it in Google Classroom. This is called as differentiation learning. You can do that. Else, post the same quiz to everyone else. So points, how many points is it? So 1 point only, right? Yeah, it's better. So let's say, okay, let us say you have made a quiz of 10 questions. So let us say, okay, 16 time is optional. That's okay. So 16. Rubric, I'm not, right now I don't want to go into rubric, so don't worry about it. So yes, that's it. So now assign. So yes, check everything. Yes. The sample class to all the students. Yes, so and then say assign. That's it. Yeah, assign. Okay, so it's assigned. Now, just for a while, I just want to show you about the grade importing and other things. So let me just go back. Let me just go back to the student, my student account. So and I will answer this quiz so that one will understand. We can understand, how things work. I'm a student of the sample class, and yeah, you can see here upcoming test 001 is there due Saturday. So okay, there is some test 345. Rakesh Roshan posted a new assignment. Okay, let me go on to that. ICT quiz. Okay, let me open that. And yeah, let me answer. So Google Classroom and Edmodo are examples of. Okay, chalo, I know it's LMS. So and you want it to send a copy of your responses. Submit. The moment you say, you can also see the score. The beauty of it. Yeah, you're feasible. And that's it. Now I don't want all of this. So go back, go back, go back, go back. Now go to my sample class. Yeah, this is my sample class. Now let me go to the grades. Test 001 which I have created just now. This fellow has already attempted it. You can go there. One turned in, one assigned, one turned in. So you can import the grades. Just say import the grade. Yeah, import, no problem because I don't have any problem. So because he's already answered it. Now we can see the marks here automatically one by one. So the other student has not turned up because right now only this fellow has taken the test. So you can see the grades are already inputted. We said there grade importing. We have clicked on that, right? It has already imported the grade. That's the beauty of the Google Classroom. And so let me stop. So these are a few of the many features in Google Classroom. But once again, all at one place. Uh, how to put the material, how to post the recorded material, or how to go live by Google Meet, and how to give assignments, how to grade them, automatically grade. Manual grading is also there. You can do that. Okay. I prefer auto grading because if you have a large number of students, auto grading always makes it easier. Okay. Manual grading could be there. Go to the last one, which is Edmodo. Now, Edmodo is completely free. Unlike Google Classroom, you need to have a educational account, G Suite account, and other things are there. So Edmodo, no restrictions, no limitations on the class. Excuse me. Logged in. So I also have created a sample Roshan. Some class I have created. Once again, there is a class code. You can see there's a class code. Give this to your students. That's all. They need not do anything. Just give this class code to your students. Your students will go to Edmodo, sign up with this class code. They'll quickly just join your class. Nothing will. That's all. Nothing more than that. So this URL, you invite the people, or you just give this link. They click on the link and they can join. What you want to do? You can create an assignment. You can load an existing assignment. You can create a quiz. All of that you can do. Or you can start a discussion. You can share. You can share material. You can start posting. So, so whatever. So, hello all. We will have a yes quiz at 3 see who tops it. All of it, or you want to know, you can just create a poll here. No need of Slido. What is the poll? Two. Are you ready for quiz? Yeah, very much. Yes. So now, depending on the responses, you can see the answers right away in your Edmodo. Straightforward. I have said you can get, get quizzes. All of that you can do. Or add material. So you want to send once again. Let us say this. You want to send a recorded video, recorded one. Is fine. Session. So once it loads, you can post it. Same thing we have seen in Google Classroom. We can start posting it. There it went off. Or you can, using book widgets and other things, you can also post directly to your Edmodo, like we had posted to the Google Classroom. So maybe I think sometime back I had posted something. So yeah, you can see it here. So this I have made it in Edmodo itself. So you can answer that. How are you feeling today? Wellness check. I'm good. I'm great. Blah blah blah. How is the session today? All of these polls you can do. So yeah, this is through book widgets. Can you see that? So I have posted from book widgets. I have shared it in Edmodo. So the candidate can do it here, and then grades are imported. Or Edmodo you can get assignment here itself. So you can post your material. You can create posts. You can you can give assignments. You can give quizzes, whatnot. All your data is in your library. So you can see here home. All your posted, as you post. Yes. So what? How many classes are there in your? How many classes you have created? In which class? How many students are? Class? How did they do? All of that. So these fellows are like, let's say, class students. Only this fellow has responded. I gave them 3 quizzes. This fellow has responded, and these are the marks. This is a sample thing. Okay. So if you are doing it manually, you can add grade, or you can export all the grades. All that is there. As we have seen in Google Classroom, you can do all of this free of cost in Edmodo. Discover not required right now because you can explore. See, there's once again is the limit. Either Google Classroom or Edmodo, we can have, people can have a session on this. Some 2 to 3 hour session exploring the futures of either Edmodo or Google Classroom. So all your data, whatever you're posting, etc. All of these would be there in your library. You can see my assignments, my quizzes, whatever assignments you have given so far, all would be library, or you can put it in OneDrive, or you can put it in Google Drive. So a lot of flexibility is there. If assignments are due, for example, this week there is one assignment due, so it will tell me what are the, so for 4 students it is assigned, 3 fellows have not viewed it at all, and 0 have submitted. The first one, it will give me a quick idea of how many students. So my class turn was 4, so not viewed 3, submitted 1. So all this analysis could be done. So what's due, you can see what is due. So yeah, this is due. So what is it? Assignment about online learning. What is the assignment you want to see? Already I had posted that time, but just to see. Yeah. So Roshan. Oh, that's a class. So this is assignment. That's a class. And yeah, in this class, we have posted it, and these fellows have. I'll just show you how the assignment looks like. You can create it. I've created it in Edmodo itself. Same typical thing. It will ask you whether you want it to be like classes. You can join classes. Since I'm like you are a teacher, so you can create class and ask your students to join the class. So you don't want anything else. You just want activity. You just set activity. Only your class activity comes here. And your things beforehand itself, like Google Calendar, you have an Edmodo planner. So click on the Edmodo planner, and then you can schedule your things. Like we have done it for Google Calendar, we have scheduled, so you can do all that scheduling. Excuse, you can do all the scheduling here. And whatever you have scheduled previously, all that also turns up here. So, so these are, by the way, Saturday. So you can see, you can schedule something here. So task, you can schedule an event, schedule a task, and then create it, and then share it to the students. So all that could be done. So I guess probably, yeah, I think I have pretty much explored the basic comprehensive features, the Edmodo as well as Google Classroom. I'll just show you how to create just one thing, last thing. Once again, my idea is to just make sure that all of us are aware of the, the, at least bare minimum comprehensive setup that we all need to have, and then start interacting with the students, and then getting all different things right into things. So quiz title, you can give something. Again, what type of thing? So true or false, multiple choice, short answer, fill in the blanks. You can attach file. You can add a link. You can add a library. So you can do whatever you want to do. So stop something. Let me just do something. I've attached a file, and what is that? So this is true for dash multiple choice. So I'm showing a picture, and I'm asking them, this is true for what? So basically, it's type 1 semiconductor. Type 2 semiconductor. So I'll just click it. So correct answer. So it is sure. So yeah, 1 point. That's enough. Okay. So yeah, let's say that's enough just for us to understand. Preview that. So this is the quiz. Okay, what happened? So let me see. There is some error. Multiple choice. Oh, okay. Because I made one. So I just wanted to make it multiple choice. This is true for responses without all. Okay. I gave 3, right? So that was asking, waiting for one more. Okay. So this is okay. Now let me put a preview. So yeah, it will generate a preview. Don't worry. Yeah, student, this is how, timer, you can set timer. I have not shown you, you can set timer. So I've set, like, it's a big test, you can put it for 1 hour, or you can just put it. So yeah, this is true. Yeah, so you will get, you can answer whatever you want. So let us say type to semiconductor, that's it. and exit preview, because it's just a preview, so let me just exit it. Okay. So to just make it complete, so yeah, so now let me assign it to make it complete. So yeah, so what do you want to do? You want to assign it to my class. Which class? Sample Roshan, what's the due date? And tomorrow is the due date, today is the due date, 11:59 p.m. and lock up to date. Anyone wants submissions? Once the time is over, it locks. So anyone wants to submit after that, it will not. Yeah, this is the time limit. I was just showing you right from them back. Okay, so let's say there are 10 questions. Just give them 15 minutes, something like that. Questions, yeah, you don't want the same order. Let us say you can randomize it. You can add to gradebook. Yes, answers you will get their grades immediately onto your thing. So show results to students upon completion. Yeah, this is important because the students can get to know whether they are correct or not. They need not wait for you to tell them the grades and then tell them what is right and what is wrong. This is the beauty of it. As we have seen earlier also, using the other assessment tools and quizzes, and then say, chalo, assign. That's it. And this quiz is assigned, yeah, successfully. You can also check. Now you can see, yeah, so sample Roshan, you can see just now, yeah. This is all about Edmodo. This is completely free, no limit on the number of students that you can add to the class, and all the features like Google Classroom. Once again, basic features. When I say features, all the basic features to get started. This is more than sufficient. I would say this is more than sufficient. I think if you want to start off and then enjoy the teaching learning process, I think my personal view is, I guess if we can incorporate this this should make a good comprehensive ICT setup, which comprises of productivity tools like polls, mind maps. You can make it more interesting because since this itself is a mind map, I have not explored mind maps more. Presentation tools, video making, video editing tools, assessment tools, learning management systems, video conferencing, quizzes, vocabulary learning, all these put together, we have a good, what I feel is a good comprehensive ICT setup to start off with and make the students, learn with a lot of interest and enthusiasm. Okay. So yeah, probably I think that's all from my side. So you can explore the mind maps also. So you can give the link directly. So from the mind map itself, you can just go up to that link. You need not take it and then Google BizQ, VizIQ, and then go to the home page. Not take it, just click here, and it will also tell you information about that. What does it do? So Microsoft Teams, for example, what does it do? It's a unified communication collaboration platform that combines blah 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 and quizzes. Let's say Kahoot. Kahoot we have seen earlier, right? So let me say ClearSlide. ClearSlide enables the most engaging and interactive presentation experience powered by the high quality video conferencing, audio conferencing. That is also possible here. Okay, I've not included it here in the video conferencing because I feel these are good. That probably I think you get very less time there. Education is one more. Education is one more interesting thing which I have not touched upon because that can also behave like you can it can also be like a LMS, but I find Edmodo is good. Google Classroom, because most of the people are going for it. Yeah, Google Classroom is good. Edmodo is real good. So yeah, so that's it from my side. So as I told you, my intention was to give whatever little I know so that people can start off, because in this pandemic there is a confusion. We need to go ahead with online classes, but a lot of teachers are kind of okay, how to do, what to do, how do you make it, what all things are required, what is a Google Classroom or what is other thing, how do we assess, how do I evaluate or how do I give quizzes, because we are not into it, right? So if it's the typical classroom thing, traditional classroom thing, there's nothing to worry because you never know. The pandemic has stuck us, and there's no other option than to learn and then move on, and that's what we all should stand up to the occasion, rise up to the occasion, and then deliver to the students as usual, so that the learning never ends and our students get a good learning experience as they have been getting from a traditional teaching mechanism. So this is my humble attempt in educating a fellow teaching fraternity. So yeah, so if you like it, you can just share your views with me. Probably you can probably you can yeah, share your views on this or any other things. So please do share the review if you like it, or if something is missing, please let me know so that I can incorporate it, and then I can do whatever is feasible within my limitations. So thank you once again for all your time. And I also want to thank Lakshmi ma'am, Dr. Lakshmi ma'am, so who has actually introduced this ICT technology to me. And she's from BBRIT, Hyderabad, and her positive energy is really contagious. And I also want to thank my family, and good luck everyone, and all the very best. And let's make teaching more interesting, and more interesting and more engaging for our students. And best wishes, and hope this pandemic ends soon. And that's all. So take care, stay home, stay safe.